We'll call this meeting to order on Thursday, April 19th. Let the record show that all the selectmen are present.
Yay.
Welcome back, Joe.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Time is 4:30. We have the minutes of February 16th.
I'll make a motion to bring the minutes of February 16th, 2012 to the floor for discussion and ultimate approval.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye. The only one I don't have is that.
On page 3, first paragraph, third line down, discuss this is repeated twice. I just eliminate one of them.
I saw that and I never did get out to fill it out. Thank you.
Welcome. Second one. No, the first one.
Maybe you want to get the point across.
Just say, pheasant. He'll run.
I have a question.
Yep.
On page 3 at the bottom, it says that the arborist for PSNH is named B. Herbert. Is that correct? B-E-E?
Should be BEA is typically the first name,
Oh,
but it could be.
like Beatrice? Oh, okay, there you go. I just never heard of this person. It seemed that B-E-E, it seemed odd to me.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I'm guessing Mr. Herbert. I'm guessing. On page 4, under reports from selectmen, says that whole first paragraph, you get down to the N, and the last word is that. But I don't understand what it means. Financial statements for supplemental schedules for the cooperative that,
Something's missing.
Yeah, something's missing.
yeah,
Page.
page 4. Yeah, if you just take out the that would work.
Okay, that was the chief texting me. He will not be here tonight. He's at the Chief Maloney's funeral. Any more questions, concerns, and additions to the minutes of February 16th, 2012?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended for February 16th, 2012.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Public input. Do we have public?
We have public.
Okay.
Which commissioner hat would you like first?
Whichever one you'd like to wear.
On the sewer one, on your letter.
So we're all on the same page because not everybody is privy to what you're asking us to do.
I sent him an email.
Okay.
I know what he's talking about.
I didn't even copy it. I don't even remember what I said.
This is the end of the dark section down here, so.
Oh, you
Well-
have a copy of it? Okay.
He would like to change the word in
Yep.
2012 to future.
All right.
Oh, yes, I did read that. I take it back, I read that, yep,
I did read that.
from Johanna.
You interpreted it different, but I can see both, and I'd probably go for both interpretations. When we read it, we looked at it that just for 2012, it's set up to spread it, and then it may revert back.
So you're looking at it so it doesn't
No,
revert back
That's revert back.
to the 2009, 2007.
It
and-
cannot revert back. I mean, that came right from local government.
Without a vote.
Well, I mean,
Unless the town meeting votes it back.
Yeah,
well, yes and no.
The way we voted it in the warrant article was the debt, the projects that are currently assessed. So that would be back. Right? For those projects that are currently assessed. Oh, no.
To see if the town votes that the sewer betterment fees for those projects that are currently assessed upon those persons whose drains enter the municipal sewers and whose lands receive special benefits therefrom as per RSA 149, I:7, be assessed to all property taxpayers in the town as allowed by RSA 149, -I:17 and RSA 149-I:24. So that means from that vote forward, those betterment fees for those projects that we currently had will be assessed over all the taxpayers in the town
Okay.
without it changing unless a vote of the legislative body changes it.
Not necessarily, because I think 149 gives ultimate power to the commissioners.
That's your authority going forward, but the legislative body
Right.
on these took that away from you. You can't change you cannot go back and say, we are now going to charge betterment fees for these projects, that this warrant article effective.
Correct.
For all future projects, all new projects, you have that authority now to either charge them by betterment fees through those lands who are benefited, or townwide.
I'm
But
not,
you can't undo a vote of town meeting.
I'd have to check, because the statute does give us the power to set the fees as we see.
But town meeting took
set
that
the
away
fee,
from...
not how they're gonna pay it.
Huh?
No, how
No.
they pay it. No, how they
Set the
pay
fee.
it. No, whether it's dispersed over the town or the specific project. No, that's not what we're saying.
Town meeting subrogated that authority from you as it pertained to those particular projects.
That are currently assessed. That's what this warrant article, anything,
Quite frankly, that's why I took future out of it, because if it had been left in, it would have subrogated your authority for all projects, past and present, those to come. It only subrogated your authority for those projects that have already been completed and are now being paid for. Your future projects, that authority remains that of the sewer commissioners to decide how they will be paid.
So we have one project then that was left hanging,
What's that?
White Rock. There's CDBG.
we have no debt service.
There is
Right.
no debt service.
I understand, but say they decide to turn that system over to us, which they could do. There's still the debt that they are responsible for. And it's, the only reason they had to go out on their own was the delay in time from when we started to when we got bid pricing. The pricing went up so much, we had to cut projects out. That's why the two
Like
co-ops,
plans, yep.
we stubbed out, we didn't go into it. The original plan was to go down into both of them.
Right, but that's their own debt service. They would have the option, they would not have to turn it over to the town, but they would have the option to, would they
Right.
not? It'd be optional,
True, but-
not mandatory.
True. Why would you hold on to something that then you have to maintain?
I can't even imagine.
But it was my understanding that they had the grants to take care of that, and what was left of the grant that wasn't used has been put into an account to cover their betterments.
I don't think it covers the full annual payment.
No, it was, I think the remainder of it was about 200 and some thousand that they hadn't spent, so that they would be able to apply that as a cooperative
Right.
towards the debt service.
Right.
We could still do that.
But don't they still have an annual payment on,
It's gone. This 2012 vote,
no, for White Rock, that wasn't included in it.
The White Rock's not included in that.
no, and it's not included in the town's debt service. It's not an expense to the town.
I understand, but if they want to give the system over to us and we take the system,
Okay, how would you finance it? How would you take over their debt and repay their debt? How does the town need it? Borrow money, right? To pay it back. At that point, the town needed it,
Whether to take it over.
whether to take it over.
Right.
And then all of town would be paying for it. Just as all of town is now paying for,
If
The
the
other
town takes
project.
it over, we take that obligation, I think, but... Especially because it's a current one, right?
sure, yes.
And I see it as only that debt, that obligation that the town takes on, because you're putting, that general obligation debt is being backed by the full force, faith, credit of all the taxpayers in the town.
if they renege on it, the entire town pays it, because it's a CDBG grant. And we guaranteed it.
So we're sort of already partially in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, more than first.
Partial.
We're holding hands, but it's
Okay.
not full romance, but we are holding hands.
So I guess it's just interpretation of the all 2012 sewer betterment. Our concern was that it would change. Okay.
No, but do you see the
So it doesn't
commissioners-
tie your hands in future
Right, the
ones.
commissioners have the choice going forward because, new projects, I used the hypothetical, what if somebody bought the trailer park up on School Street and decided to run a line and got all the easements through, behind Walmart to get there? That wouldn't benefit anyone in town. It would benefit the contractor.
It would benefit the park. So depending who owns the
Right,
park.
so,
if
I
it's
mean,
a
that might
co-op.
be a decision I'm just saying that might be a decision where you'd say, well, you know what, it only benefits, so. There you go.
We've done the same thing with White Rock, and I don't know whether Gaslight's gone forward or not, trying to get their own grant, but
I don't think they've started moving.
No, they've just started contemplating.
it was, to me, it would be the same thing.
Right. The commissioners should have that authority going forward.
So we can accept the wording like it is?
Well, this board has voted. Did you take a vote?
We did take a vote.
So you can't. The board.
I can't speak for the board. We can wait another month and we can discuss it.
We got to do something, because we've been hashing this out for how long? It's a letter to tell the people, informational letter.
Well, we're sending it out as an FYI, quite frankly.
Yeah,
At this point, is it necessary?
Yeah, when you don't receive the betterment.
You'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know.
So is it
The
necessary?
betterments don't go out till, what, August, Joyce? Mid-summer?
We do Northern Shores and Andrews Road in June, and then we do, the first issue of Lockmere, Kings Creek Feed, and then in October, we do the Coney Road and the second half of Lockmere. So none of those bills will be going out.
I'd prefer that we send an FYI out. I'd really like to let the people know, so the next available chance that you get to explain it to the commissioners, and then take a revote, and
And then maybe we could
No,
do it, send it out next week.
When's your next
you could
meeting?
take a poll over the phone.
We'll do an email, this paper trail that way.
Right.
True.
Right.
Yeah, our next meeting's, we just had it
Either
Tuesday.
that or field the phone calls.
Yeah. Normally we do. So you ready for the other commissioner hat?
No, I hate this conversation, but go ahead.
I forget what year, but we had one year the voting body purchased a zero-turn lawnmower.
Oh, that. Go ahead, that's something.
What was the purpose of that purchase?
Mowing lawns. I wasn't here at the time, but that's what I'm guessing.
Mowing-
grass.
Mowing what grass? There was a specific location.
Well, I wasn't here then, so.
The 132 ball field, where are you going with this, Peter?
We've got pricing. If we do it in-house, it's cheaper. If we go with Dennis, it's 2.5 times the price of our lowest price, which wasn't the one that got the overall contract. It's still 50% higher than the overall project bidder.
How much was Public Works?
$50 an hour.
$3,900.
Or $50 an hour?
Correct.
Okay. How much did you say that the contractor was going to charge us? $12 an hour?
No, one was $1,500 for the season, the other $2,500.
If he uses our equipment.
No,
No.
their equipment.
Oh, no.
Well, it still works out to $12 an hour or something for the same, apples to apples.
But I have to ask,
Well,
why,
Mowed grass to mowed
No.
grass.
No.
It's still doing it by the hour.
no.
why
mowed-
are we paying the municipality to mow the municipality's grass? If we can do
Why should
it,
we?
right.
Well, it's
I mean-
mowed grass with your equipment you have to purchase versus mowing grass with the equipment purchased by the taxpayer.
I mean,
didn't have-
this is all about doing it as cheaply as possible.
Wait a minute, the zero-turn mower we use on many other pieces of property.
Yeah,
Such as,
cemeteries.
they don't use a zero-turn
We
in the
don't
cemeteries.
use it in cemeteries.
They don't
The
fit
track-
between,
The garden
yeah.
tractor and the push
So
ones.
exactly where are they using a zero-turn tractor?
I think this is a
Public Works.
discussion for Public Works to be here as well.
Yeah.
This is not a conversation that we should have without Dennis being here.
Right.
If it's cheaper for you to go with the ball field, with a private contractor, then I don't understand what your question is.
Be even cheaper.
It's not cheaper to go with a private contractor.
It's $3,900 for Public
That's if
Works.
we pay ourselves, if we pay the town to mow the town's...
So what you're asking us is not to pay the town, just have them mow it without paying them.
Yeah, kind of, I think.
When we when the ball field was first built, it's been mowed by the town. It's only been, what, 2 years that it has not been mowed by the town. This is about doing it as cheap as possible. We purchased the zero-turn to mow the ball field specifically. It wasn't a necessary piece of equipment until the park was built and the ball field was built. And the ball field was built first.
How much was budgeted by the Parks Commission to mow the lawn, to mow the grass at 132 ball field?
I don't know what that breakout is.
What was it?
Probably in the ballpark of 2,500 because Belknap's
So
No,
you,
Belknap's
was,
last
theirs
year.
was lower.
Yeah, no,
So-
Belknap's last year was 1,500, I just looked.
Okay.
so you obviously knew that you were going to pay to mow the grass at the ball field because you budgeted for it. This is your second year in a row that you've budgeted for it, correct?
Correct. Per discussions with Budget Committee, wanting us to try to keep our budget as low as possible. We also are looking at our part-time employee using said zero-turn mower to mow it. That way we don't have Public Works labor involved.
So what is the question here? Is the question that you would like to use your part-time employee use the zero-turn mower owned by the Public Works Department to mow the 132 ball field? Is that the entire question? I think we're only hearing bits and pieces of the question.
That question was already asked, and the Public Works Director, hands down, did not want that piece of equipment to be used by the part-time person.
Okay.
But he also gave us reasons why he felt that way.
I agree.
I didn't say he didn't.
I agree, because I wouldn't let anyone else want my
So
tools.
therefore, the least expensive way to get the ball field mowed would be have Public Works mow it.
And they don't get reimbursed for doing it.
Well, we're trying to do this as cheap as possible. I mean, quite frankly, it's moving monies from one budget to another. We do that all the time, but
I don't think you gotta move budget money
I think it's...
anywhere. I think he's gonna have to schedule somebody to go mow that field like the mower got bought for, and that's the end of it.
Then what about the labor cost to do it? He didn't budget for that.
I don't think it's gonna take that long to mow that lawn.
I still...
In the required times that they want it mowed, yes, it is.
What do you
We'll
require
take the
times?
money from the parks that they
If there
budgeted
is
for
an
mowing, couldn't we?
insistence
for the labor?
to reimburse the Parks Director out of one budget for the labor, then I don't think it should be at $50 an hour, since that's not the labor cost.
Well, then why don't we bring Dennis back in and you talk to him and you let him know how you feel? I mean, he's the department head. I think he ought to be part of the discussion.
He should have a right to be party to this
I'll agree with
discussion.
you.
Certainly.
So we'll bring him back in next week.
Can you come in next week?
I believe so.
All right, there is some question, because I'm going to bring it up about a change of meeting on Thursday, so it may be
I'll even expedite it.
for another reason. I'll bring it up later, but we'll get back to you on what night it is,
Okay.
when the vote, and then we'll get to Dennis and find out when he can make it. That, I think that would be more reasonable discussion, and then we have all parties involved, and then we can make a decision right then and there. That'd be fine.
And I can find out the school to get certified to run the machine.
I still disagree with that portion of it. I personally would not like somebody off the street that you hire run equipment that I've purchased.
You train them on it, and then you let them go.
It's just my feeling, I don't know, you just don't let them go on that kind of machinery.
Train them first, but it doesn't take 2 years to get your certification to run a zero-turn mower.
That is the health plan.
Anything more than 10 or 15 minutes, I would think we need a new employee.
They go back and they also take it, they go back, they clean it, they make sure that the blades are sharp and all of that. That person's not going to be doing that.
No, that's true.
I think there's a little bit more involved than just taking it out. Every person that takes out one of those any of the mowers, make sure that they know how to maintain that mower as well, and before it's brought back for the evening, it's cleaned out and properly cared for, then they go home.
Yeah, what's the daily maintenance on it? Ask Dennis for the list.
When he comes in, I'm sure,
We could talk about it when he comes in next week.
Good.
Have your questions ready.
Yeah. All right, let me know.
thank you, Mr. Fogg.
Anytime.
Next.
Okay, got the public input.
Any more public input?
Yeah.
Now that we've brought up next week, we've been asked by, contacted by Liz Mary that there is a forum, and it's the Institute of New Hampshire Fiscal
Okay, make sure.
Spending, I think. We have been asked to attend. It is April 26th. It's at 7 p.m. at the Taylor Home Community Center. It's specifically to hear and discuss how the effects of downshifting from the state, unfunded mandates, and how that affects the towns. And she felt that particularly where we've been vocal about it, and that we would have some clear input into it. The county, Ed Philpott will be there from the county level, and a senator. There will be also a gentleman that is from the New Hampshire Institute as well, so she's asked for our input. That means either foregoing the meeting on April 26th and having it on April 25th, or coming in earlier in the day and having it however we want to decide to do that. Senator Forrester was scheduled to come in next week. She can make it on the 25th, if that be the case, if we want to change it to that. She can come in at 7:15. So I don't know what the board does. Number one, would the board like to attend this forum?
I think it'd be very informational. Give us a place to voice our concerns.
That,
Might not do us any good, but at least we'll have a place.
right. And we might learn something.
At least put, might be able to make some additional contacts and
Right.
people that feel the same way we do. Do we want to have the meeting earlier in the day, or do we like it on Wednesday evening? The budget,
I'd kind of like to have it earlier in the day and just shoot the whole deal on Thursday, but that might not work out for everybody, so I'll go with the flow.
What's the time?
it's at 7 p.m. at the Taylor Community Center.
We could have almost a 2-hour meeting.
Yep,
Hour
And get out of here.
45.
yep.
Have an hour and 45, get all the paperwork and all that stuff done.
And then take off and go.
We've done that before. Have it the same day, 4:30? Or we could have it at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, make it
What's your
4.
availability at 4 o'clock, just in case?
I can get in for a while.
For today, I'll be right here, you just let me know.
Yep. No, I'm fine with that.
So if we had it at 4 on the same day?
Sure, Thursday.
4 to 6, and then, take and go over there.
So we will not be taking any appointments and public input. It will just be a,
Once the proposal is on the 26th, she was scheduled to come in at 6. I could call and find out if she could make that earlier, or maybe get another new date. She can't.
I suggest that we make it another meeting date,
Yeah.
for me anyway, because she's a good hour at least talking with her, and by the time we get through the manifests and the necessary to be signed and all of that, I would, unless we come in earlier, but I don't, so when is the other senator coming in? The 17th?
Coming in on the 17th.
Which one is that? Oh,
And then it's at,
6 o'clock, right? Senator Shaheen? Okay.
Okay, we just asked Peter to come in next week.
No.
told him
No,
you should call him.
we told him we'd call him because that's why I'm talking about it.
I heard next week, oh, good.
No, I said there may be a change in next week's plan.
And there is.
And there is. So can we have Dennis and ask Peter to come in on the 10th, and we'll schedule them perhaps,
What happened to the 3rd?
What happened to the 3rd?
the 10th is your opening.
oh yeah, that's right.
What's the matter with May 3rd?
Yeah. How about the 3rd?
That's next week.
No, it's not. Next week is the 26th.
That's right, next week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just gonna slip.
The 3rd, have Dennis and, all right, and see if Senator Forrester can meet on that night. If not, schedule it out. So we'll have Peter and Dennis, whatever time both of them can be here, then we'll schedule it. Okay, on the 10th is the open house. We're going to be closed from 1:30 to 3 here at Town Hall. Are we having a meeting that evening? Are we coming back for a meeting, or do you want to meet on...
We have it at the Grange.
Want to just have it at the Grange?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
What's that? Yeah, the senior center.
Senior Center,
On the 3rd?
It's just like the Mohawk will always
On
be
the
the
10th.
Mohawk.
On the 10th.
I know.
Oh, that's
At
okay.
1 o'clock, right?
Still call it the Normandy.
I do too.
Well, 1:30 is the open house, and that will go until 3 or 4, and then as soon as that's finished, we'll go right into a selectmen's meeting.
Perfect.
Okay? All right, so any other scheduling conflicts we have? And May 9th, the Budget Committee's meeting at the PD,
Oh, they are?
right?
I'm going to show up here. I know I am.
And then May 4th at 11:30 is Jim Clements.
Oh, yeah. Well, there goes that month.
I'm telling you, it's not. Okay, so we got that squared away, good. All right. Okay, public input. Joyce, you're up. It's a municipal building.
Oh, this picture. Yeah, yeah. Yup.
Okay, so the way we left it with the letter will stay the same. The commissioners we're going to wait another month
No, he's going to contact the commissioners and get back to us by next week.
by next week. Okay, and then once the commissioners sign it, then you guys will sign it.
Right.
Last week, we had given 2 requests for hardship abatements to the sewer commissioners. And they denied them. See the
Why
red.
didn't you give this to us when he was here?
Well, because it has people's
Did
names.
they actually process them the way that we have them process them?
No,
Going through
we
Heather?
asked. No, they didn't do that. They received the information, and they voted, and they denied it. And so we had asked Joanna, well, did they make a determination? And she just gave us their minutes. That's all we received.
Are they familiar with the hardship process,
I
abatement
don't
process?
believe so.
So now what do we do?
Familiarize them?
Well, I think that I
Is
know
the
that-
ultimate decision then?
Yep, I think.
Well, I do know that Catherine has spoken with both of them to see if they qualify for any of our exemption programs, and one person, not these two, but she did send them the disability exemption information. I mean, it wouldn't apply until next tax
Next year, but would that have applied on the betterment?
Without knowing what their assessment is, I couldn't say, because the disability exemption is a $50,000 exemption off value.
Off the value, right? Okay.
But I do know one of these individuals is already receiving the elderly exemption, so they pay no property tax. But they have to pay the betterment. And believe they're past due. I don't have their letters with me, I don't believe. Maybe I do. Yes, I do. Is in arrearage, so they're asking for 2 years of betterments in arrearage. I mean, if you'd like, we can have Heather contact both of them and see what their situation is.
Do the sewer commissioners plan on sending them a letter of their decision?
We asked them that, and Joanna said no.
What?
Do they have any heart? I'm sorry, but
They're
just,
gonna
I don't
make decisions
understand
like
this.
that, don't they? Why don't they at least have the decency to write and let them know?
Right. These are,
Should we have them go through the process we do, have Heather examine them, get a recommendation from Heather, and maybe see if they would reconsider?
is there appeal process for them?
It's not an abatement request, it's a hardship request, so
Where's the appeal to? Is the appeal to us?
the appeal is to the sewer commissioners, I think. Although,
We've taken over all that debt now.
no, it is theirs. I was going to say, I mean, we were the ones collecting the betterment for them and going through the whole process.
Correct.
But they're the one who assessed the betterment to the property.
Correct.
So my thought is that we ask Heather to go through the process that we normally go through and go to the sewer commissioners meeting next month, get on their agenda and talk to them about it.
The letter I saw written by the sewer commission stated quite frankly that any currently owed betterment monies was still owed. That's the last one I saw.
I would think that, I understand where they're going on that one, I agree with them, but that would be, the exceptions would be hardship. And if you have an elderly citizen out there that has a hardship, just as we do with taxes, I would think that we would do our due diligence and fully look at
I
that.
understand that the sewer
Right.
commission has no criteria for hardship aside from yes, no, and based on their pals could come in and,
Apparently,
Apparently.
that's the answer.
that seems odd.
I know.
Can we
I
impact
think,
that?
I think we should get on find out if we can get on their agenda next month and go there, but I agree, I concur with Catherine that we should ask Heather to follow through on this
It didn't say anything
route that
about
she usually does.
discussion in that, I read those. It doesn't say anything about discussion in there. So they said, we have an abatement, we have a hardship thing. I say we don't do
You
it.
read these?
I haven't seen those, no.
Pass those down.
I'm going to put this in there since it seemed to come with it.
And because they're an independently elected board, right? And they can do that,
Right.
I think. But,
Could have some compassion when you're doing it, though.
Right.
ouch.
I guess my feeling is it's their project. They identify the properties that are within that area, not the selectmen. The sewer commissioners identify that. They have the, I don't want to say daily contact, but they're the first point of contact on anything having to do with sewer user fees or the betterment fees. All we're doing is we borrowed the money for their project, and we bill those users for their share that was determined by the sewer commissioners.
You know, it's just like the Silver Lake Road project. You know, those people who qualify, who are not paying any taxes, are not paying that project back.
So what
So the rest, you know, and the rest of us pick up that burden, but
happens, though?
that's the way it is. That's
Is there
law.
no recourse at all? I mean, do they have any appeal process at all? They don't.
I don't
If they say
There's
yes,
not
they
a-
say no, that's it,
It's
period.
not a formal appeal process. They can't go to the Board of Land and Tax Appeals for a hardship, correct?
I believe you're correct.
And they can't come, and we have no authority on it.
Right, because see, technically, I
We
mean,
can only intervene
it's a
on their
tax,
behalf.
but it's not, only one portion of the Lockmere is considered a tax because the amount that you collect is based on value. All the rest are just flat fees. The only thing that they would need to be mindful of is that if they're granting hardship abatements, which hopefully they have set criteria like the selectmen do, that they're taking into consideration, and all they're doing, though, is they're taking that, it doesn't just go away, it's that that amount of money then gets lumped onto everybody else to collect. That's why you should document, you know, your reasons for doing that.
Well, I would have given it to them, but
Did they
I'm
increase
not a
the
sewer commissioner.
commission this year?
Yeah, so the only thing is to appeal to the sewer commissioners on their behalf.
I thought I would
At least it's an attempt.
ask. I thought they
Right,
did.
next.
Isn't it my understanding that they increased their own commission this year? The sewer commissioners,
I don't know.
in their budget that they presented to the budget committee?
I don't remember. I'd have to look.
I think that to be true.
We have a brief non-public scheduled at the end of the meeting.
we
These
do.
are the legal. So we'll go over them at that point.
All right, so you're going to get us onto the agenda for
Sewer, yes.
sewer.
Bob Hardy from the Parks Commission, Chairman of the Parks Commission, had emailed me, well, actually, I got it via Tim, to put their notice for their seasonal part-time labor position and a job description. They're just advertising by word of mouth and notification. I also announced this at our staff meeting yesterday so that people could spread the word. And I had emailed him back and asked, I said, you know, I'd like to just put it in our format when we hire, because we are an equal opportunity employer and that we have to comply, not only our personnel policies require that we do this, but also to be in compliance with all the federal and state grants that we receive. And he said, yeah, for sure. And I said, and also the selectmen, since they are the ultimate hiring authority, we have to, our policies to have job descriptions for every position. So I took part of our custodian job description and part of our highway labor job description and took their duties and melded them into that job description and emailed it to Bob, and he said he was fine with it. But at some point, the selectmen would need to review it and approve the job description so that we could add it to our book of job descriptions. And did you want to go down to Joe?
Yes, that crash indicates yes.
That's the
have to make that decision tonight, have an opportunity to review it, and our binder of all our job descriptions is downstairs, and then perhaps at a subsequent meeting, definitely before the individual is hired, so that it can be made clear what their duties are. And then I also had explained to Bob that we do have a hiring procedure, and I gave him a checklist of the documents that we would need for a part-time employee, and also how to go about making a conditional offer of employment. I suggested they use the hiring forms that we use so that we can be consistent and document and keep a record of who's been interviewed, and then also the conditional offer of employment letter so that we could do the background check on the individual. And he said it was great. He was very appreciative, so we went ahead and posted it.
How many hours a week is this laborer going to work?
24.
24 hours a week?
3 8-hour days.
3 8-hour days?
That's what it says, yeah.
Then how can he daily pick up cigarette butts along walking path?
Good.
Well, he couldn't. Well, every day he's there.
Yeah.
Pick up cigarette butts along walking paths and pavilion each day. So each day that he or she is working.
It says daily pick up cigarette paths.
He might have that
Butts.
for a 5-day-a-week guy, but it doesn't mean he'd come in 2 other days to do that.
Well, I had kind of envisioned that the Parks Commission would actually give the individual a checklist, similar to how we gave our custodian a checklist that they have to go through to make sure that they're,
Check 'em off,
just make it
restaurants.
easier for them. And then you could also have frequency.
Yeah, that's why he's put here example of duties, and then he's got performs other related duties as required. He left it a little bit,
Yep.
he left it open-ended, so.
Right.
And how much are we paying them?
I don't know what, you had a range budgeted, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Budget?
saw that 2 hours ago, and I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
It is in our budget book.
Well, what is it?
I don't know. I'd have to grab my budget book, because I remember that they had to justify that to the budget committee.
Well,
And didn't Peter just say how much they budgeted for the part-time person?
Was it $12 an hour? Or 15?
No, I said $1,500 was the mowing part of it.
That was the
But
contract.
that was just the mowing part of it, so.
Right, but this individual isn't doing the mowing?
Right.
That was part of your outside, your independent contractor, correct?
Well, and as Peter said,
It needs to be seen, right?
yeah, I mean, the ball field has to be mowed. The budget committee challenged them to do it in the least expensive way possible. That's what they were trying to do.
And that's why we got Dennis and them coming back.
Quite frankly, they've even talked about buying their own zero-turn mower since the town's isn't available to them, but,
Maybe they can buy one from the Public Works Department.
yeah, I
They're not
asked them
using
not
it.
to hold that thought.
well, I'd really like to know how much we're going to be paying a part-time, hourly, seasonal laborer.
That's kind of why I asked Mr. Allen what he was charging for hourly rate there on Monday. Because it seemed like $50 was a little exorbitant for the town to be charging the Recreation and Parks Committee, but at least he's out there officially with his...
When does this go out?
It's out.
It's out.
So
It just says
you
compensation
must
based
know
on
that there's a
experience.
range.
No, I don't try to remember those things. Let me see if I can
I
find
saw
it.
it written down somewhere.
There was a set rate design on the budget, but
Yeah.
there was quite discussion about it, and I can't remember which we finally agreed upon, but it was like between $12 and $15.
Yeah, I
That
thought-
sounds about right. No more than 15, I remember that. Because the highway hires hires laborers if they're experienced, mature,
So I have to get
capable at 15.
back and cleaned and maintained, and that all came as part of Dennis's price as well.
I think it was 12 to 15.
Figuring one big overhaul or maintenance issue over the course of the year.
We have full-time employees that work for the town. At $15 an hour.
Correct. I know.
Do we?
Would that be
Do.
a slap in the face?
So we're going to hire a seasonal laborer for that?
I shouldn't think so.
This figure should not
because
be
that's-
announced publicly.
Okay.
What's it dated? I don't think that changed.
I'm going to hold it to them.
Well, it's dated December 21st. So that should be. I don't think the Budget Committee changed it, did they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sure you want me to say that out loud?
No, I don't want you to say that out loud. There's
see.
the error. See it? Yeah, negligible.
I guess it would depend on the level of expertise that this person brings to the job, but even that seems a little high to me for a part-time summer employment.
Seasonal?
I'm a college kid here. I know regular people who pay rent that don't make that much money. We're talking about picking up cigarette butts here.
We have full-time employees that make that.
Oh, I don't think we should be paying that much, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
Okay, hiring process. So I'll bring that up
That's just
next
me.
week at your next meeting, so you can
Yeah.
adopt that and get it in the book.
Adopt the,
Job description.
well, we can adopt that. That's not, it's just adopt job description.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with that. I've read it.
I don't have a problem with it either.
Do we really want to go into specifics about cleaning cobwebs and spider webs and,
Well, that was what they had put
What they want.
as examples of duties.
well, do you want a laborer? Wouldn't this also pertain to highway as a laborer? Or no?
No, because it's specific to Riverfront Park and report is under the supervision of the Parks Commission.
So then this would be a park laborer?
Park labor.
Okay. Do we have that in the title?
I just put
How do we
labor.
distinguish laborer?
Well, I have performs routine building and grounds maintenance at Riverfront Park, works under the direct supervision of the Tilton Parks Commission, who assigns duties and provides instructions as necessary.
Second, we title it part-time summer laborer.
Well, you
it's not
can't say
just the summer.
part-time. Yeah, it's seasonal part-time,
Okay, seasonal.
It'd be May to November,
Just put
right?
which is up
Seasonal?
here.
Yeah, it says labor,
up here.
seasonal, part-time, hourly, non-exempt.
Okay, I'm okay with that. So I'll make a motion, we accept the job description for a laborer for the park commissioners, seasonal, part-time, hourly, non-exempt employee.
Second, Cat.
Any discussion?
No, nice job in doing that, Joyce.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's, we have that part.
Okay, on the redistricting, and I have to be careful how I word this, because other towns are pondering doing litigation. I contacted, I believe, all 62 communities that were losing state reps. When I reported last week, I had heard back from 3 of them that were somewhat interested. Since then, I've been able to speak to the Deputy City Solicitor for the City of Concord, the City Solicitor for Manchester, and I had received some email communications from Belmont, Meredith, and Guilford. I can report that the Board of Aldermen in Manchester did authorize an attorney, Tom Donovan from McLean, Graff, Rawlson, and Middleton Law Firm. They have offices in Concord and Manchester that will be representing them. Their situation is a little bit different than ours because they do have enough reps for their wards. Their issue is with a floterial that is including the town of Litchfield. In talking,
Not every community is going to have the same issue. They're going to be
Right.
similar.
Correct.
We're all disagreeing with what took place.
correct, but I'll continue. Whereas we're more closely in the same situation as Concord, where their floterial, one of their wards has no reps, doesn't have their own rep, which they've always had their own rep. They have 10 wards. They've always had their own reps, and they've always had floats, like at large to make that up. Well, they took Ward 5. They have no rep, and they're sharing a floterial with Hopkinton. They're sharing 3 seats with Hopkinton, which has more voters than there are in Ward 5. So it'd be very difficult for a resident of Ward 5 to be able to get someone that's representative of city interests.
Right.
So,
I thought I was angry.
You were.
so their city council has not made a decision yet if they're going forward. They're still looking into it, and they're because it's the city that's doing it, she was able to share me a lot of the information about the deviations, and you have to watch this and that, and I wasn't really sure what our deviations were, but what they would do is if they do decide to do it, they would do it in-house. The representation would be in-house. And then if Tilton decided to go forward, that their city solicitor would be more than happy to sit down and confer with whoever Tilton would hire. Their city solicitor could not represent the town of Tilton.
Right, because it's,
Right.
And
Because
same,
it's in-house.
right, and same with this Mr. Donovan. It would be, he would be representing the town of Tilton and Manchester, not us, with Manchester. It would be two separate.
It'd be 2 separate.
Right. Mr. Donovan also shared with me that there are individual citizens in Concord and Pelham and some state reps that have contacted an attorney, a Martin Honingberg in Concord, that he will be representing them individually. So he gave me his phone number. If you're interested, we could call him. I know that Meredith contacted the local government center to see if there's anything they could do to assist, and I don't know what the reply was there. I do know that local government center, they never will represent one town against another. That's part of their policy. And I haven't spoken with Scott Dunn or Phil Warren in Meredith, but they share, theirs is a float thing between themselves, similar to like Tilton and Samberton.
what's Guilford doing?
I don't know. I did not speak directly with Scott, but they are looking into it. And I do know that Mr. Donovan has their contact information to speak with them. So that's where we are right now.
They kind of act quickly. This is April. One's September.
Yep.
So we have at least 2 attorneys that I'm aware of that are involved in this, if you wanted me to contact either of them and get information from
So
them.
we would not join in with Manchester, we would be on our own with the same law firm, fighting the same fight.
Right.
So there are no other ones that want to join in with us and make it a
Class action.
class, right, similar to
In
that.
effect.
In effect, right. That what I was hoping that
Right.
they would, like we're doing with the consortium.
This is going to court, I'll bet you.
But on what level are any of these communities wanting them to throw it out, the plan, and have it a do-over? Or they're asking for specific relief for their specific issue.
We don't know that because they haven't gone that far.
Oh, yeah, they
My,
just,
my personal opinion would be, since we're part of Belknap County, I think we would want to stay within Belknap County, because whatever we do, or the legislature does, or if a court changes it, it's going to impact the other communities in Belknap County, not Merrimack and Concord, not Hillsborough and Manchester.
so,
So I think it still
This
may
would
be
be-
possible to do what you're
Right.
saying, unless our interests
Right.
would negatively impact either Guilford or Meredith.
Yeah, they're kind of...
Oh, and Belmont is...
well, ours is going to impact, ours would impact the Center Harbor in that area, that they said, Alexandria.
No, that's Senate. This is House we were talking about.
I know, but the House, in order, because Samberton would have to go with
I see what you're saying.
the
Right.
other, that would impact them.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying that.
I see what you're saying. Yes, right.
So it would kind of impact them in a way.
If they went with that plan.
Right, if they went with that plan,
But
but
it'd
not
be-
necessarily have to go with that plan.
Right.
If they could come up with another one.
Right.
So I would be in favor of trying to find in the Belknap County towns that would go along with us together with us, share the same thought process as to what's fair and equitable for our towns and get our town's representation.
Those 3 communities know that we are very interested?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've spoken personally with one, and the other 2 has been emails back and forth.
Okay,
So really, at this point, just keep in contact with them?
yep. Keep it going.
Yeah, but
You can find somebody that really lines up the way we do,
right.
and it might behoove us.
Well, it would also be nice to keep the communications open with the city solicitor in Concord, because he
Right.
was involved in the 2000
Exactly.
litigation.
And they would be more than happy to, speak to whoever is representing Tilton,
Right.
because they have a wealth of knowledge with prior litigation and with how the deviations work. And I mean, I tried to wrap my head around it, and I just couldn't. I mean, between phone calls and this and that, it's like, okay, and that's off 10%, and then that impacts this one over here, and it's...
Yeah, it all has to
Eyeballs
do with the
are going.
leftovers.
Have we talked with the representative from Samberton, or whoever from Samberton? They're going to be most severely impacted by this.
Bill?
No, because they would get...
Whoever it is that we needed to talk to, the town administrator or whatever, your counterpart, I don't know, I'm just asking.
Well, we know
Because they'd
who
be
our
the
two
most
reps
severely
are.
impacted, and they might have a real serious interest in the outcome of the
Samden
case.
really hasn't changed, have they?
No.
Yeah, it didn't change, but it might if they redistrict again. The courts do it or whatever.
Then they'd
No,
be
they-
against
'Cause they
it.
might
Talking
be
about
with Center
Senate or
Harbor.
House?
House right now.
House,
We're talking about
okay.
House right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
House, yeah.
right, because
So they
if
have another
we-
float besides ours?
If
No,
we
I-
won, then they would have to go to somewhere else. And if they went to somewhere else, that, what Joe is saying, that may severely impact them
Might be Center
and leave
Harbor.
them as a disadvantage, and therefore, they would probably not be happy. And we should probably,
Extend them the courtesy, I
Well,
would think.
we did send them,
It depends
the
on how
law was being voted, we did contact them.
deal with the deviations, the
Yeah.
leftover
Right.
percentages. I mean, typically, they'll look at what is reasonable. You know, I don't want to say out loud what I think took place.
You can talk, hold on, go ahead.
You know, who's to say? I mean,
Right.
Samberton may not even be affected at all because maybe their deviation is reasonable
Well,
and not
maybe,
being used to
okay,
some other group's benefit.
okay, well, there are a number of other people that were sponsoring plans that have already looked at these kinds of deviations, so maybe we could find one that it was close to how they were going to do Tilton and Samberton, and see how it impacted their abutting towns.
And I wouldn't close the door completely on the other communities in the state, because if we're all looking to accomplish the same thing, which is to throw out this redistricting plan, that's the objective.
Well, it may not be throwing out the whole plan, because a lot of people are happy. It's just, and of these 62 communities, like Northfield, they said, we're fine. They were surprised to know why their name was even on the list. And other communities, they're like,
Do they have a representative?
they can have up to 6, I think.
Well, there you go. They have 6, we have none.
Well, no,
No,
I mean,
they
they're all
can-
floats. They don't have their own just
They don't-
Northfield.
I see, Northfield,
So
even
they're
though they have
fine.
barn
Northfield is
access.
content with what they've
Yeah.
got. That's what the issue
Yeah.
is. But they're on the list because potentially
And
they
Pelham
have a
was
situation
content.
where another board may not be content.
Right. Deerfield was another one that may be interested. You know, they want to see what other communities are doing. But they're, I think, in Rockingham County.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, I just think
so we
that,
just need to kind of keep on top of it and see what Meredith and Belmont
all
and
right,
Laconia
so
are
you
gonna
want me
do.
to get in touch with Meredith, and I heard nothing from Laconia.
No?
Nothing.
So Guilford,
So Guilford and
Meredith,
Meredith
Gifford, and Belmont?
and Belmont.
Okay.
Belmont.
Well, they fixed Laconia in the end, didn't they?
They gave him back the
They
ward.
gave them back their ward.
Right.
That's right.
And
That was a smart move on their part.
Yeah.
there
Well,
was,
the representative is up there. That's why.
the other thing I can do, because I have my whole file, is look in there, because there was one of the plans that was presented that did meet Samberton and Tilton's deviations. I think it was-
America's Choice.
Yes. So maybe we can look at that and see.
Right. It did meet the deviation, but it didn't meet Bristol, Hampton, and New Hampton, and Alexandria, in that area.
Huh.
That's what they
I
would...
love doing puzzles, but this one's a bit...
It's a mathematical equation, remember?
Yes, and math is not my strong suit. Okay. I believe I sent you all an email that the Northfield Selectmen can meet with you on May 2nd, which is a Wednesday at 6:30. Can you guys do that?
When is the budget committee meeting?
May 9th. Okay, Northfield.
6:30?
Okay, I can. Okay. Everyone else? You're all set? We can? Okay, send them back.
30, you say, Joy?
Yes. At our staff meeting yesterday, we kind of went off on a tangent, just talking about security, our personal security, working in the town hall, gun laws, you know, how would we react, because it's legal for people, someone could walk into town hall with a weapon, and it's perfectly legal for them to do that. So we're all going, Cindy, please be nice to her.
You mean like this?
You know, like a gun on your hip.
Yeah,
It's a
you could have
weapon.
something on your...
Yes. Somebody could.
So we talked about, you know, well, do we have a plan, you know? And so I went back and looked in our policies, and the last time we really seriously looked at this was in October of 2005.
No wonder why.
I don't know.
When did the incident in Colebrook occur?
It was about then, wasn't it? I think that's,
That generated, I think, all communities, at least close to New England and New England.
Well, what it did, though, is it generated, well, we need an exit plan.
Yeah, it was
We need to
a
set
Band-Aid.
up some code words. One of the things was, you know, like if something happened downstairs, how would we notify the people upstairs?
Right.
How would we exit the building and what have you? There are people that will come in and help you put a security plan together or do a workshop or a, what do you call them, tabletop exercise.
Have we a panic button?
Oh, yes, we do. And I checked, and it's been 2 years since I've had them tested, so they need to be
Probably a good
tested.
thing.
You know, does everybody know where their panic button is?
right.
Somewhere in that desk.
Another thing that helps is just a refresher. I know all of us have gone to these types of workshops over the years. You know, how do you deal with difficult people and get them to calm down and what
Is there a
have you.
panic button up here?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're in the desks where people sit. But there's not one,
Anywhere where
you know,
you can
see where we
panic?
are right now? If something occurred, somebody came up, we'd have to run to a desk. It's not like we're going to go,
Yes, okay.
boink.
Well, then we also talked about the fact that, you know, we're getting video cameras.
Yeah.
So this is another reason we should get together and have a, you know, update this policy.
So you worry about safety, You worry about somebody robbing them downstairs?
Physical violence,
Is that what we're worried about?
robbing, protecting our assets.
Then we need to go back to the rule that we set way back when I was a selectman, before, that both doors that door downstairs need to be shut and locked. Because you can walk by that door and reach in and open it and walk right in.
Oh, Cindy's Dutch door?
Yeah. It shouldn't be a Dutch door, it should be a shut door. We're worried about
Well,
safety.
I just want to let you know, it generated a lot of discussion, and we're
I
going to
would
be
think that
talking
that would
about
be
again.
step one.
Well, it was already in the policy to have that door shut and locked.
Right, but then the board, there's another policy that superseded that one, saying
She
that
wanted
it
to have the
could...
door open
the top
so she was
half.
aware of people going, just the same
And it
thing,
helps the-
people
We'll
going
have
up and down the
cameras.
hallway.
Ultimately, we'll have cameras,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It sounds to me like these people that would come in and help us with this, do they cost money?
No, you'd probably get, I got the name of one gentleman that can do it. He's from another police department. I mean, we could get our police officers, I just,
When you would need to have some type of vision coming in and out of that door because it opens. You have to have a physical way to see if anybody's on the opposite side for safety. Otherwise, so you'd have to have some type of glass.
right.
Put glass in it.
Oh, we talked about that. We said, Cindy, she did say she would be interested in glassing in the whole front, but she didn't want the little opening. She wanted something that could slide and lock. One of the other things we talked about, too, is,
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Actually, can I ask the board a question? When we decide to do something, like downstairs, this is the building. All right, this is our building, I should say. I think this is a decision we make, not her. If you're looking at safety.
It's a decision that we would make, and typically we garner input from interested parties, but ultimate decision is the Board of Selectmen's.
Right, as long as it doesn't interfere with some, like, for instance, a camera on her...
right, that was brought up.
That was brought up on her confidential information. Things like that, that's where we would get the input from the parties that are using the area. Other than that, yes, we're the ultimate decision.
But I think we have to also balance it with the fact that this building belongs to the public.
Right.
It's a public
Absolutely,
building. You
right.
can't lock them out.
You
Right.
don't want to make it so austere and
Right. I remember
people
before,
aren't
when
comfortable.
everything was always closed up and locked, people became, they were offended by that. Now, I realize somehow there's got to be a balance.
We're not talking
It is a
about,
public building, and anyone that lives in Tilton, they have as much right to be in here as we do. Well,
we're not talking about locking them out of the building, we're talking about locking them out of the office, where the
but,
money is.
yeah.
Right. Well,
and dry.
I just think it's good because, we are safety conscious. We want to make sure our employees are safe and our assets in our building are safe and the public that comes into the building for services is safe. So,
Right.
and it takes instances like this to say, let's pull out the policy and see what we
Right.
had. So, so that's something that we'll be talking about now is in terms of coming with a formal plan on, okay, we're going to have to do doors, windows, glass and all that. I think we'll wait a little bit on that. Let's see what we can just do internally, just with our behavior and our practices, and then come up with anything that we can put that in the budget.
I think if we're going to look at anything, we should start now. I'd like to hear from experts, because I want to have time to think about it. I don't want it to be August and have to go, oh man, we've got to come up with something.
Okay.
I say let's plan
One
now.
thing that I would suggest right away, after being in the town hall for 10 years, the one thing that was a real joke was we all had our little panic buttons, and they were all in our desk. And if anything had happened, it's like, which drawer? You yank it on drawers looking for it. So we have to come up with a way to either attach them to someplace inconspicuous on the desk, or everyone has them in the same spot, so that what if you're up front and you see something, you have no idea where they
I
are.
have to
up
say, wait a minute.
front. Yes.
No, don't do
I
anything
have-
yet.
I have to call
Yeah, excuse me while I find my paddy
But if we
button.
became consistent, if every desk, they were in the same location or attached in the same spot, it wouldn't matter where you were in the town hall.
had fresh batteries. We regularly
Yes.
check the batteries.
But that way, if, say, you were in Catherine's office or Tim's office and something happened, you don't have to rifle through his desk wondering where he put it, if they're all located in about the same area, so that you know, if you reach under, you can push a button and help's coming.
Well, I'd
But
be
I mean, it was
interested,
always a joke.
it is. I would be interested in hearing from the independent, and I'd also be interested in hearing from our own,
Yeah,
as many opinions as possible.
Yep.
right,
All right.
I think that'd be a good idea.
yep.
Okay, the 29 Beach Street property, I'm sorry.
You know what?
What?
While we're on this, let me just bring something forward that Cindy asked for, because it must have come out of this meeting. I wondered where it came from. She is concerned that the administrator's office door is often locked if she's not there, or if that's not locked, Catherine's door is locked. If she had to exit from her area quickly, as an emergency exit, because she couldn't get out the other door for some reason, she would not be able to go through, and she would like a key.
I don't recommend a key. I think it should stay the
If
selectmen's
she
office.
needs a key for that reason, then Kim needs a key for that reason. I'm not in favor of 2 keys in that office going in through there.
I'm not in favor of any keys going in that office.
It's practice to
personnel
make
files in
sure
the
that in
office,
the
yeah.
morning,
Do
because
we
when
have
they
any
come in,
reason to believe that that might, in the next little while, be used as an emergency exit? Has it ever been used as an emergency exit?
I would,
Just asking.
but I would
I'm not trying
stand
to
a
be snide
reason
on
that
any
it
level.
would be an emergency exit.
couldn't
that
go out
You
to the
couldn't go out the
hallway.
hallway, that's going to be the only means of
But why can't
egress
they
out
go
of
over
there.
the counter and right out the front door?
the practice is...
If I had to go out, I'm not
I
climbing
was gonna
over the
say,
counter.
yeah, there's
Front door.
some who couldn't get over that counter, I don't think.
Trust me on that.
through the window, and then climb out the window, I wouldn't be
You
going
just
over counter.
boom, and go right out through the front.
I don't know. I mean, she presented it to me, and I've been
No,
trying
it's
to...
that at night, I lock the door between my office and the front office. In the morning, I mean, because it's like a little thoroughfare there, so I have to be conscious of unlocking that door, or Catherine or Cindy, because she goes through that way, just to make sure that that door is unlocked during the day. I have to remember to unlock my office door. Like, I make sure I do it on Thursday nights when we're up here, and I always say to Kim or Cindy if they're there, this door's unlocked, that door's unlocked, the main door is locked from the outside, so you can get in. But there are times when I just don't remember during the day to unlock the door between mine and... I get locked in my own office, too. So it's just, we have to be sure that we
Right.
unlock them. During business hours, or when there's public in the, like, not so much the meetings, because if there's meetings at night, they've got no business being in our offices anyway. But during the workday from 8:30 to 4:30, that my office door, my 2 office doors need to remain unlocked, and we can do that.
That's fine
don't
during
need
the day,
keys.
but when you go home at night, you want your office locked up.
Oh, and I lock it up when I leave, yes. So it's only when she's open to the public that we want to make sure that my 2 doors are unlocked. And I will do that. And Catherine, you can help me do that. Cindy can help with that. So I don't think it needs keys.
No, I'm not in favor of that.
Me neither.
Think of all the money we'll save and more keys. 29 Beach Street, the attorney from the, and the title company, the representative came in today and reviewed our documents for being able to approve title, and everything seemed to be fine. And then I also had received a call from Greg Peverly that he will be sending the board a report. I thought I would have it by tonight, but I didn't. Just, his expense report, how many bidders signed up, and all that information. So that will be forthcoming.
How wonderful that has been taken care of. Did the second bidder get their
Oh, that
deposit?
was, yes, that's the other thing. I wanted to let you know that the contingent buyer received their refund.
All the documents are properly signed?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I had informed Scott McGuffin as such, because I guess she had called Scott as well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, many
Oh, yeah.
times while we were here.
I don't understand, because she was always in all my, for those of you that don't know, after last Thursday's Selectmen's meeting, before I left, I had called her numbers and left a voicemail message saying that the Selectmen had approved for me to release the funding, and that, and I'd be in the office on Friday. She called sometime Friday afternoon, said that, wanted to know how late we were open, and I said till 4:15. I said, but I can stay later. And she said they had an appointment with the Noise Road property they were purchasing, and I said, well, do you want me to swing by there, because I need both of them to sign everything. No, that's okay, we'll come in Monday. I said, sure, yep, I'll be here Monday. I said, I'll be here at 8:30. I made sure I was in here before 8:30. I took a lunch break I left the building at 5 minutes of 1, and I returned to the building at 2:06. I was stuck I had a medical appointment. I was stuck in the traffic there, the special detail traffic. Otherwise, I probably would have been back here in under an hour. So,
Of course, that's when they came in.
oh yeah.
We met them.
You were
Well,
here?
they were, yeah, I was here on,
Oh, okay. But
pleasant couple.
they were fine. Okay, I only have a couple of other things.
They were irate a little bit, but they seemed nice enough all in all.
Joe, before
Nice when
you
they're
leave,
irate,
I have
that's
two
right.
things I need you to sign.
I think I signed some. Did you see those two things I signed, the tax paper and the, Okay, well, I left some stuff over there on your desk.
Yeah, but these are other things. so-
Okay.
Okay, I'm almost done. That's for non-public. Oh, last week the board had asked me to contact our legislative delegation, which I did, a congressional delegation, Senator Ayotte's office, Senator Shaheen, and Congressman Bass. I did not contact the other congressman because when you go to his website to try and contact him by email, he only communicates with people in his district. You can't send him an email.
Boy,
Who
is
is
that a
that?
letter to the editor.
Who is that?
Ginta? Is it Ginta?
Yeah,
Yes.
Frank Kinte.
Well, it's true, we do have two separate congressional districts.
He represents the citizens of the state of New Hampshire.
Well, he would say he represents the citizens in his districts. But anyway, so I heard back from Senator Ayotte and Senator Sheen. I have not heard back yet from Congressman Bass, but I do know that they were all in the state today attending the service, so I felt fortunate. But they all called EPA, and EPA said the same thing, that they hope to have decisions made by the end of May.
Kelly Ayotte was on the news as a slim possibility for vice presidential pick. She hasn't been there that long. But to make that type of influence, she must be shaking some bushes.
No comment.
The other thing, I had
What kind of bushes?
I had lunch Wednesday at next door, and I had invited Elizabeth Dragon, the city manager of Franklin, Jean Bowden, the town administrator from Belmont, and Glenn Smith from Northfield, primarily to talk with Jean because she's on the operating committee
Right.
of the co-op, just to get a little more information about what's going on. And we all agreed that we had a great lunch. It was very quick. I mean, everybody had to be off in different directions, just to see what they're going to do. And I'm not free to say anything right now because that's all something that the co-op is planning, but I'll be more than happy to share with you individually. And I did talk with Dennis. One of the things Dennis and I decide we have to do is we really have to sit down with Tim, with whoever, and put together some really hard, true numbers on, because I don't want to say to you that it may not happen. I don't want to say that.
Right.
So, but we do need to be thinking about, what our true costs are and what can we do to help influence the process so that our communities are taken care of.
Do we have those figures? We have those figures already?
We do, but I need to,
We need to put them in black and white in a list,
yeah.
so that they can visually see
Yes,
them and
yeah,
say, wow.
because there's always another little hidden cost that you forget to add in, so.
Right.
But the result of that was, and also learning what those communities are doing now and how they were just like us, waiting for that single stream to open. So everybody's plans have been put on hold, waiting for that facility. And we're still kind of tied up because the co-op is still working with the SWAC group from the city of Concord to see, and also with Casella, to see if there's some way they can come up with a...
After talking with Mr. Pressure, it would seem as though there's a couple of proposals
Right.
that they're bouncing around. I don't know, the whole rules have changed. So I don't know, because I'm the representative to the board down there, and up until the last month, I've been there every time. This has happened since the last time I left. None of the plans I've heard are what we had voted on and agreed to earlier. And so they're still working with the solid waste people in Concord, their advisory board or whatever, but I don't know if that's going to work for us ultimately, and so we just got to wait until, but that puts us behind in our efforts to move forward, certainly.
Right.
Just have to wait and see, I guess. And then beyond that, we have to decide if we're going to remain a member of the cooperative. But that's the end of 214, so
Right.
we'll see.
So, so I felt good that communication was, a lot of good information was shared, and I learned a lot. And I just want to make sure that Tilton's interests are,
Oh, yeah.
and that,
We've been working
and
that
I
right
believe
along,
in the concept of a co-op, so if something can be saved, and they all feel the same way, our
I do too. With
our
what
budding
I know
communities.
from those meetings and the figures I've seen, I think it makes sense, but going forward, we'll just have to wait and see the new figures and how the new things come down. But, I mean, buying a truck and shipping it to Berlin is not a good option, I don't think. So, but we'll just have to see.
Okay, the other things I have, I think the board's going to be discussing just a status report on 61 Business Park Drive. You guys were going to talk about that. And the Highland Avenue property, you guys were going to talk about that. And then the rest is, I have, and I did not get a chance to go down there today and look.
Okay, that's good. We're not going to talk about that till next week with the chief. Well, we can you,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just show that to me? This is a room, and now there's another room here. Okay. And we got our check back from LGCIC in the FYI file for the holdback payment for the Grange,
Yes, and I
1209.
I sent the information to Karen Demers. Her staff is out until Monday, because I had a question about the electronic funds transfer. I couldn't find one. I don't recall receiving one today, so that's...
Okay.
And she'll call me back.
Okay. So just for an FYI, tomorrow around between 2 and 2:15, there will be a procession from fire trucks. There's a fire funeral coming through town between 2 and 2 p.m. with the casket on a fire truck. Belmont Lieutenant Dalton has passed away at age 47, so he'll be coming through town.
He was their health officer and code enforcement officer.
And when is that again, Pat?
Tomorrow, around between 2 and 2:15, he'll be coming through town. Joyce, on behalf of the selectmen, had sent in a small note to the members of the Greenland Board of Selectmen. On the behalf of Tilton Board of Selectmen, we offer our sincerest condolences for the tragic loss of your police chief, Michael Maloney. We understand how this shock impacts the entire fabric of your community and extends to all of our police departments throughout the state of our nation and state and nation. Please know that our thoughts and prayers are with Chief Maloney's family, your staff, and the citizens of Greenland. And we did get a reply back. Thank you for your thoughts. I think I speak for the entire town when I say we are mourning the loss of not only a terrific police chief, but a truly good man. We will all miss him and appreciate your kindness. Respectfully, Vaughn Morgan, Selectman. These are on redistricting. We have a wetlands permit for 34 Lake Road.
Putting a canopy over a dock.
Mailing address is 14 Winslow Drive. And this is what they're doing.
They're attaching it right to the dock. I already looked at it.
Already looked at it?
You want to see this?
Please.
Opening minds with listening ears. Hear what has happened over the past year, understand the challenges ahead, meet the service providers and recipients, know what can be done to help, tell us what you think. Monday, May 14th from 4 to 6 at the Plymouth State University, or Tuesday, May 15th, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Taylor Community Woodside Building. This is for the Genesis Behavioral Health. And they are also, Mrs. Helen Holbrook, mental health advocate and friend of Genesis Behavioral Health, will be honored at the Laconia event for her many years of service to the organization. Just in case we forgot, they sent us 42 pages to remember.
Guess it's going to be hard to remember that one, isn't it?
This is an interesting note. It says, Dear Board of Selectmen, happy spring. The Business Connection is a 28-year-old established statewide company helping buyers and sellers find a professional link to bring business opportunities with real estate together. In this case, we are representing and introducing our for sale listing to you in the town of Tilton, New Hampshire. Would the town have an interest in the purchase of the 10.7 plus or minus acres at 18 Bittern Lane, map R24, lot 5, with the possible idea of creating a public town park around Ice House Pond or an environmental events center, green building, fostering a path to green, clean culture. The original listing price was $950,000. New drastic reduction is $699,000.
Oh, yeah, that's drastically.
Enclosed is a brochure that offers an excellent opportunity to purchase at today's attractive market pricing. The location, opposite MB Tractor and in front of Walmart, is excellent and offers an area with a healthy business climate. We look forward to hearing from you, and of course, anything discussed will be strictly confidential. Not anymore.
Oops.
I have to say
What
that's
they're not saying is more than half that property is in wetlands.
Right, in
No,
wetlands.
the swamp.
they can't do nothing
Yeah.
with it.
Can we write them back and say we already have a picnic area on Ice House Pond? And it's high and dry?
Need we respond on any level? No.
No,
I like sarcasm.
it's a waste of ink.
It's a waste of a stamp. I'm sure they
Oh,
sent
you
those
gotta
out
give
to a
them
number of
credit
people.
for trying.
You know, they insinuate that the pond is for sale.
All right.
No, she
What's
just has
next?
8
It says the
land.
usable area is 7 plus or minus acres with a small pond
Yeah.
that forms a portion of the boundary.
Yes.
So
it's
somebody
part of the
could
boundary.
assume
Yeah,
that there's a slight insinuation there.
All right.
but we know better, don't we?
Oh, I know who this is.
We could own that whole corner.
That's pretty funny.
I've seen it.
Everything on that whole corner is up for sale,
Of course, Joe wants to see, he wants to see everything.
Oh,
right?
I'd love to see that stuff, you bet.
Okay, Saturday, May 19th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Going Blind, Going Forward is New Hampshire Association for the Blind is proud to present a complimentary showing of Going Blind, Going Forward, a movie by award-winning producer-director Joseph Lovett. This film is a hopeful look at the world of vision loss and blindness. Free admission, reserve your seat at this number, 224-4039, extension 324. A panel will follow to answer questions about sight preservation, sight loss, and coping with vision loss. It's supported by Citizens Bank. This postcard is to inform that due to redistricting, the town of Tilton will now be covered by Ranger Neil Bilodeau.
Ranger?
Ranger,
Like the forest? Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought it might be
Department of
fire.
Resources and Economic Development, Forests and Lands.
Outstanding.
You mean our forests weren't covered before? We had no ranger before?
No, we had a ranger, they just
For the whole
gave us, we got another one. Lakes Reading Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 30th. Joe, you got that?
Monday, April 30th, for what?
Lake
Planning Commission?
Planning
Oh,
Commission?
yes, oh, no. At 6 PM at the Meredith Center or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah,
We ride together, Drew.
absolutely.
Do you know where it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me?
Oh, this one too. The Northfield Police Department Relief Association is organizing a flapjack fundraiser to benefit Chief Donald Sullivan of the Alexandria Police. Chief Sullivan has been recently diagnosed with brain cancer and has been through 2 recent surgeries. Officers are hoping to raise money for Chief Sullivan to offset the cost of being out of work and any possible medical expenses. Please join us and bring your friends. The breakfast will be on May 5th, 2012 at the Tilton Applebee's from 8 to 10. All-you-can-eat pancakes, butter, syrup, bacon, eggs, orange juice, and coffee. Just $10 a ticket. Contact Christine at the Northfield Police for more information and tickets. Okay, Joe, do you have anything for us?
Well, we already talked about the co-op facility somewhat. The consortium, MetroCast, the current negotiations, I wasn't at the meeting on the 29th because I was gone, but apparently something happened. Guilford was going to send a letter about having channels 26 and 25 assigned directly to them, and I guess nothing's been decided yet, but LRPA, as we know it, is probably going to be defunct under those terms. There's no provisions for it at all, which doesn't affect us necessarily, except that it might. We're looking at a legal opinion as to if we become the public access authority. All right, now that gives us we can show our meetings and whatever. We do that now. But if we become the authority for public access, that means, as far as I know, and we're still waiting on this legal opinion, that we're responsible to our residents to broadcast anything they bring to town hall, and all the incumbent problems that would be associated therewith. Not that we've had a hue and cry for this service thus far, although there were several Tilton entities that broadcast on LRPA prior to our withdrawal. Religious groups come directly to mind, that we might then have to broadcast as under the 1934 law, as it's currently, as amended. So that's a question out there. Yeah, but just so as you know, I was just wondering where we stood on redistricting. I think we found out, apparently our transfer station is now open an extra 4 hours on Saturday. Now, that costs us approximately $100 extra each week, or $400 a month, $500 on a 5-week month. And I was just wondering if we collected anywhere near the amounts of recyclable materials to justify that overtime. I guess only time will tell, right?
I don't think we're looking for justification on collecting anything. I think we're open for the public to have extra time on a Saturday to bring their stuff to the dump.
I guess, all right. Just as long as we're aware that there's an increased cost for that. And let me see. The board members for the recycle committee. I think Marge wants to come back. Her initial thing was, I've had enough of this, and I have other things to do, but she's very tied up in this whole recycling effort, and I've found since the articles in the Concord Monitor and the votes in Concord that Marge is really, and yay, the residents who really care, but I think she may be back.
Okay.
Great, she's a valuable resource.
Yeah, Marge is great, especially when it comes to that. Is there any kind of word whatsoever on the issue of a traffic light at Silver Lake Road? Nothing's happened with that, right?
It's going through the process.
It's going through the process, we know that, but we don't know what the process is.
It's DOT's court now, right? They were supposed to have a traffic study and...
I was at the TAC meeting a couple weeks ago, and it is gone, it's going through the steps.
Okay. Well, I had a couple of residents ask me, and of course I was unaware. I'm interested in 61 Business Park Drive ceiling of bricks. Is that a proper subject for now? Okay, there was a thing about all the cracks in the building had to be sealed with this colored stuff in order for it to work, because clear sealant wouldn't seal the cracks. Now we're in the future. Have we made any kind of determination on what we're going to do to proceed with sealing the building?
That was new information that we were going to bring to the board later on.
Okey doke, then we'll just move over that.
We can do it now if we want. I just wanted to let him know that,
We intended to talk about it, yeah.
yeah, we just got that information, Joe, and we talked with the attorney, and he is supposed to be receiving a proposal letter of how he would proceed to correct the issue, and we had hoped that it would arrive before our meeting tonight, but it did not.
Okay.
But the
We're kinda
alternative
still-
to that is just seal it with something else, and
Something that kind of changed the color of the building somewhat?
well, no, that product that they're talking about is the best product to use. But the downside to that product, it will change the color to the building somewhat.
And the clear doesn't seal the cracks now or in the future, right?
It doesn't bridge the
It doesn't
cracks.
bridge the gaps now or in the future. It just seals the brick.
So this is a future, I just wondered if anything had been decided.
We haven't decided anything. I think we'll probably do that.
I was wondering how the count went for the town moderator. There was a recount,
27 to 27.
and what happened after that?
Flip of a
Well-
coin.
They flipped a coin.
Flip of a coin.
And what happened after that? You gonna make me beg?
Chuck Mitchell won because he called out heads, and heads it was.
Wow, democracy.
That's finest.
Wow, 27 to 27.
There was an incorrect vote, yes.
Is there? So,
It was, ended up a tie vote, and we called the Secretary, Cindy Reinhardt called the Secretary of State and asked what to do in that situation, and it was either draw straws or flip a coin.
well, I guess 50-50, right? My condolences, Mr. Gallant. I know you were willing to serve, and I appreciate that. Yeah, good.
It was amazing. Flip a coin.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd have been there just to been a part of it.
You could have seen our mouths drop when she came back and said, "We're going to flip a coin." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Thought she was kidding, but she wasn't.
I was interested in cutting holes in the Cannon Bridge guardrail. Is that something that we're seriously considering? That's a state DOT thing?
No, there was a person that, the people that wanted to have the monument had,
Yeah.
The Legion.
the Legion,
Floated this?
right, and before they even brought it to people's attention, they wanted to bring it to our attention.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The board, it was general consensus of the board that we were not in favor of that.
Right.
And that
Cutting holes in the
DOT
guardrail
was,
doesn't make sense.
and DOT has been contacted to find out what the legalities are of that and the safety of that. So we're pursuing that in too.
Okay. The yard sale on the 28th, there were some questions about the yard sale. As it turns out, Tuesday was supposed to be our meeting, and I didn't have it in my little thing, so I missed it. Actually, I don't even think they had a meeting. From what I could tell, nobody could show up, so we're trying to reschedule. We don't have the amounts of people that we had last year for this. Norm had the information. And I've got message into Norm, but I'm going to have to hustle. We're going to have a good turnout for that. So I'll let you know more as I find out. I'm waiting for...
The Tilton Seniors Committee has a place to hold theirs. We're having a yard
like
sale
at
during
the
that
senior
time.
center, or...
At the vet's place.
Oh, yay. Excellent. Are you signed up already? Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last thing that I had a question on, there's two things. Number one, I spoke with Mr. Hoey from Hoey Silver Lake Construction today. He had an emergency thing. He had wanted to be here tonight to discuss the pointing of bricks in between this building and that building. He told me that the thrust of this, gist of this is that he has contacted any number of different companies about erecting scaffolding, which is apparently the bulk of what this is going to be about. He was turned down flat by everybody. They don't want to even consider doing it, except for this one company. He didn't tell me the name of the company, but their initial offer on this was $7,200 for the staging alone. Now, he came up with a number of different things. It's hard he could do it like by the hour, because as you go up, the bricks need less work, apparently, because the water splashing down below is what's really beating them. There's also, I said, well, couldn't you like lower something over the side, a little basket or something? He says, not the way the roofs are right now. We could at that end, but over here, one eave hangs over the other eave. That's right. So there's a number of different things. He's going to work up several different ways of doing this for us to consider, because it's not as straightforward necessarily as just, we're going to erect this scaffold and do it, because otherwise we're talking 5 figures or more. You have to, at our current, the way we've been discussing it. So he wants to come back with something that's more cost-effective, certainly, but he said if he couldn't make it, because he had this emergency tonight to explain it, he would definitely be here for the next meeting, and hopefully with more hard and numbers for us to consider. So you don't think that Silver Lake Construction just blew off the brick thing. And I got a thing today that said that the Winnipesaukee Trail people are trying to raise 50 grand for the bridge over there. I thought they had the money for the bridge. That's not true. I was
Matching grant,
Well, they have some money.
right?
I see.
Is it a matching
I
grant?
thought they had the money, see? Okay, well, I'll get back in touch with them. I thought I got the message in error. And it's really great to be back. Certainly, being gone for a month is disconcerting. It's almost like I don't know what the time limit is, but I came close to no longer being a resident, although I'm still going to be a taxpayer. The Masters was great. I hope Chuck Mitchell is listening to the sound of my voice. It was a really great time, Chuck. I got your souvenir, buddy. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. How about you, Al?
How do you follow up on
Follow that.
Well, everything downstairs is going good in the land use office so far, especially with the permit fees. They're working out great.
We have a new schedule for that, do we?
Yeah, we do. It's right online.
Okay, terrific.
What else?
Building permits?
Building permits are average for this time of year. Hopefully they'll pick up. What else is there? That's about it.
That's it?
Everything's good. Everybody's happy.
It's good, I ran out of room on my page.
Good, we'll skip right over Catherine.
Oh, where to begin, where to begin?
Yeah.
Some of us at the zoning board of adjustment meeting on Tuesday night. And an attorney for one of their cases suggested that our ordinance for setbacks has not been applied as written, and that it could not be continued to be applied as it reads. So it was suggested to the zoning board of adjustment, because this sets a precedent, that they seek the opinion of an attorney rather than take the advice of the contractor's attorney. So I'm asking this board's permission for the zoning board of adjustment to contact an attorney and seek that legal opinion.
You have an attorney in mind?
It's up to them to pick one.
Yeah, I think they have a couple, but
I was just curious if they, had an attorney in mind.
They do.
Is that a form of motion?
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second it to get it on the floor for discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, they have an attorney in mind?
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Will they get an RFP, or they don't anticipate this being in excess of $500?
Have you ever seen an attorney
No,
not
that's
in
why I
excess
bring it
of
up. That's why I bring it up.
They don't have time to get an RFP.
Sign 'em up.
Or they've got to have an answer before their next meeting.
Yes, Tom?
It's my understanding the boards don't set precedents. They can't set precedents. Just because they make a decision that's A, today, that doesn't apply to much. If they approve, say, a site plan is approved with parking in a setback, that doesn't mean that forever parking will be allowed in a setback. It may mean they erred. It may mean that someone may challenge that, but I do not believe that they can set precedent. I think obviously the legal counsel will tell you.
Well,
What's your experience?
I agree to a certain extent, but if to the extent that it...
Like your father, you wouldn't agree with me completely.
Okay, just totally threw me off.
It did sound like him.
From what the attorney was describing, and the meeting is publicized. They grant him their relief their administrative relief from the decision of the planning board to interpret that, which basically is an interpretation of that ordinance. How can the planning board go forward and continue to interpret that ordinance when we leave it open to be challenged every time someone comes in and wants to build in a setback? I mean, the planning board had wanted to correct that, but...
No, you just made a statement that I don't believe is true, okay? You said build in a setback. That's not what's in question.
Actually, yes, it is.
Oh,
Well,
Not according to the-
what can be put in a setback? I mean, what they're challenging is the definition of structure, of what does our setback ordinance exclude from being put in a setback?
I think that definition is pretty clear about structure.
I agree with you myself.
About setback.
I agree with you myself. But,
But that doesn't mean that our regulations, as it applies to structure and setback, have been administered as such. You know, and I know, it's not my first big rodeo, that you can come in and you can get approval from the planning board, and you can go off and do exactly what you want, to an extent, no one's gonna go out there and put a rubber stamp on it, i.e. parking in a setback. With all due respect to...
Code enforcement, right?
right, I agree. The planning board has no authority to grant variances. And after every one of their opinions, or their decisions rather, not opinions, decisions, it typically says, comply with all state, local, and federal codes. So if the if the local code says, you know, only accessory buildings are allowed in setbacks, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, then that's what they're supposed to do. The fact that they have not, what does that mean? Does that mean that that ordinance, because we haven't enforced the ordinance, we've been lax in enforcing the ordinance, what does that mean? What's it mean to the ordinance?
I mean, you can look at all kinds of things like that. Go anywhere you want in this town and look at curb cuts. Go up to the Grange. Go to the building next door. There's a curb cut that goes from the corner all the way to the land that was in question the other night. There's no curb cut. If there is a curb cut, who the heck knows where it is? Dixon's up here on Route 3. That's a curb cut the whole length of that.
Smoke and barley.
It's not.
There's lots of places like that.
Sure.
Well, Smoke and Barley is old enough that would be a grandfathered situation anyway. It's existing as
Kitty
it's
store
existing.
up here, there's lots of different examples of 150-foot curb cuts.
Yes, and that's the example the attorney made. I mean, I'm not on the ZBA, I'm here asking,
No, I understand,
presenting
Captain, this is just
the
a
case for
discussion
them.
here.
But I would hate to see the zoning board of adjustment make that decision based on the evidence presented by the attorney for a contractor who's asking for a variance.
As would I. I'd like to call a question if I have any standing to do so.
Jane, you have something?
I think, and I'm sure Tom will not hesitate to correct me if I'm incorrect.
You think?
That's true.
I think what Tom is trying to say is that we have had ordinances in effect for a number of years. And that any person who comes before the planning board has a right to go before the zoning board and ask for a variance. The zoning board can either say yay or nay to that request for a variance. It's taken on a one-by-one basis. That is not setting a precedent. That is merely granting a variance for one particular person, or business, or whatever. That is the charge for the zoning board. That's not to set a precedent. That's to answer on an individual basis any person in this town who goes to them for a variance.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, this town is, I don't know when the zoning ordinances that are now in effect went into effect. I'm sure it hasn't been 2 or 3 years. It's been many, many years. And I think if you look at the number of variances that have been granted over those years, that has not set a precedent.
Right, but the contention from that attorney was that those properties that he indicated were not by variance. They were by lack of enforcement.
Enforcement. That's the.
They may or may not have been. They may or may not have
Yeah.
been. Your point was well taken that evening. When you indicated, we don't know what the circumstances that surrounded these were.
Exactly.
If you want to cite 5 different site plans, you want to take a look at those, and we need to go back and we need to study those.
You need to read minutes, you need to, yes, exactly.
Does our failure
But
to
the other-
enforce our
but the other
ordinances
side of the-
preclude the ordinances from being good? Just because we don't go out and give them a ticket doesn't mean the ordinance isn't for real, does
That's
it?
the question, that's what that
lawyer's saying.
That's what that lawyer was insinuating last night.
Correct.
That's correct.
And I will say that some of the members of the ZBA were agreeing with him, which I thought was frightening.
The other-
That legal
I
opinion.
make the point that you can't set, that you do not set precedent.
No.
However,
Set precedent.
but however,
Case by case, that's correct.
Right.
well, let me say this about that. Who said that before? I think that there's two issues here. One is what Catherine has explained, but the other one, during that same meeting, in order for them to identify whether or not they were going to go forward with this variance, they first wanted to define structure.
They define.
And they were going to make a motion to define structure, not to include vehicles. So, I understand that it's there, I've read it, but that doesn't mean that here you have a group that's questioning what a structure is. That's why I feel that it needs representation in a legal opinion. If I remember correctly, the planning board had the same questioning back and forth within its members. They had the same questioning at zoning board, so why not get a legal opinion on that?
If the question is asked properly, it would help the planning board as well.
Well, that doesn't, I mean, that does not preclude us from asking our own independent.
Well, I think that's a different,
It's clearly defined here.
Yeah.
It says any object constructed or installed by man, including such objects, all were regulated or licensed by other provisions of the law. That says that an automobile is a structure.
it comes straight from the New Hampshire, the RSA's, it comes from 424.
I understand what you're,
I don't know where it comes from, it's part of our regulations. Don't tell me what from the lawyer yourself, and it wouldn't make any difference to me. It's part of our regulations.
For me.
I was surprised that the ZBA was entertaining redefining that definition.
Their own definition.
Well, it's not theirs, it's the town's, but yeah,
they did make a motion.
I was surprised.
Yeah. And then they thought about it. To get legal, that's when they,
I guess, I can't understand paying money to seek a legal opinion. That's just my, for what it's worth.
okay, let's call the question. We've already gone through this enough. All those in favor of granting the ZBA permission to go forth and seek legal opinion on their question of the ordinance?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay.
I don't like this one. So, as the owners of the abutting property affected by this zoning variance, we may want to seek our own legal opinion.
Why do we need 2 legal opinions when I get one already being paid for?
Because it depends on who asks the questions, on what type of opinion you may get.
Then why don't you get together with the ZBA, or somebody get together with the ZBA and come
That
up
would
with
be
a...
a conflict of interest.
Right, because if they appeal,
they
if
must
that
remain
person
neutral.
appeals it, right.
Well,
if
you
they-
have the right to get that opinion without the discussion with the board. You have the right to go get an opinion from a lawyer.
Our policy is that.
Right,
Every selectman can go
I
and seek.
can't just haphazardly call lawyers. You can't just haphazardly call a lawyer because you want a legal opinion and
Yes,
bill
you
the
can.
town.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you
I
can.
thought
you
we were
can.
real specific that we
You
had
can be
to talk
specific all you
about
want.
this.
As a courtesy to our own policy,
So I can go and start contracting lawyers without.
if you as a selectman, if you as a selectman have a legal question that needs to be answered, you have that authority to go seek legal counsel.
That's why, we use the local government center all the time.
But we typically, as a board, because we made that policy, we honor our own policy. That's
Would
why
think.
I didn't call up a lawyer. That's why I'm here, bringing it before this board, saying that as owners of that property who will be affected by this opinion, we may want to seek our own.
I'm at a bit of a loss because I don't know where the affected property
Tilton
is.
Senior Center.
Oh, it's right next door to the senior center? Okay.
Well, in that particular case it is, but I think it's unfair to say you're seeking counsel for that purpose alone. Counsel is meetings.
I was just curious.
At that meeting, that they wanted to seek counsel to get a clarification of the points that you just discussed here tonight, not
Broad range of the whole town.
This is the second issue. That's the ZBA. I'm just here as a spokesperson for the ZBA, as I said I would.
I'm just correcting what the chair said. The chair said, clarified to Joe that it was the senior center. Yeah, the senior center would be affected, but that's not the overall reason why clarification is being sought.
No, he just wanted to know what the property was.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all.
Maybe the question would have been, what is the issue?
Have you considered going down? I mean, you have your specific questions and things you want to talk about, going down to the local government center and sitting down with them? I know you say it depends
That's why I
on...
just said legal opinion. I
Yeah.
just want input. We, as the Board of Selectmen, we're responsible for that property, so I'm just
Right.
gathering comments, and we've got 5 brains here, and I want to take advantage of all of them.
I would love
that's
to
a good
pursue,
idea.
I really do, I would love to pursue it and get our own answer, because if the decision, one way or another, of the zoning board goes in a direction that they don't like, and they appeal it to us, we have to be ready for the answers. We have to know ourselves.
I would think at that time you'd go get the answers if you didn't have it.
If I'm not mistaken,
I would also like to
believe
protect our
if they
property.
don't like it, then they can reappeal to the zoning board if they have different issues to bring up. Otherwise, they take it to court.
It goes directly to court?
Yes.
For any
Once-
Doesn't come to
particular
us.
reason to spend
After
more
they have
money on lawyers.
reappealed to the
That's I'd love to
ZBA.
have the information,
If they
but
have
I'm
new
just concerned
information.
about spending money.
Then
But what
it
if they
would go to
don't
court.
have new
Sandy suggested
information?
local government center.
And that would be the place to start, no doubt.
They wouldn't come to you.
If there's
It would go
an
to
opinion
court.
that needs to be sought, that would be the place to start,
Sandy,
the
that's
LGC.
correct. That's correct.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It doesn't
She
come to
said it
us.
doesn't, I said it doesn't come to the selectmen, it would go to court.
Yeah.
Oh,
Once-
yeah, no, it would go to court.
Okay.
So you would not be involved.
They can only have a rehearing, there's another whole process. for
Right.
Rehearing the CBA, has to be
If-
specifically because it's like,
Right.
New
New
information?
information, correct.
Okay.
those usually, they're hard to get granted.
Yep.
So is the consensus to seek advice from the local government center?
Yeah.
Local government center.
Sure.
You know, and obviously, you know, if you have specific questions and you want to make sure that they get asked the way you want them, then, you know, you go yourself. You know, that way you know, in the general discussion, no matter how many are there, if you're not hearing or you don't feel that it was asked the way you wanted to hear it, then you ask specifically with what you're looking to hear, you
Right.
find out.
Okay. Local government center it is. We were contacted early in the week I didn't write her name down. I've talked to two very nice women. A donation from the Tilton Northfield Methodist Church of a small shrub or bush. I, for the life of me, couldn't think of a park that needed another vegetative growth in it, and thought of the Public Works Department, and contacted Dennis and asked him, would you mind having shrubbery? And he didn't object. So,
Don't we have an open dead space on Main Street? But a shrub won't work in there, will it?
That's from a tree.
Yeah.
So, does the board have any objections to the Tilton Northfield Methodist Church donating a shrub bush to the town that'll be planted at Public Works?
No?
No?
Very nice.
No? Yes, no? No? It will be planted on Sunday coming, approximately 11 o'clock.
Sunday at 11 o'clock. Where are they going to plant this now? Just at Public Works? Right out front, maybe?
I suggested that Dennis, I mean, they're the ones who are going to maintain the grounds, and so I suggested that he find the location. Is that okay with everybody?
Excellent.
All right, then I will call her up and tell her that the Board of Selectmen has no objections to that, and I'll let Dennis know that he is definitely getting a shrubbery.
Or maybe he can make arrangements to meet with her ahead of time, because, so she'll know where to put it.
I'll give her contact numbers.
Yeah.
While I was talking to Dennis, I also asked him for suggestions for members of the road committee. And he actually came up with some good suggestions right off the top of his head, but he'll make some contacts. I called Mark Morrill today to see if he had an answer for us on the question of accessing the manhole drain out here for our drainage issue. He himself is going to come by next week, Joyce.
Okay.
He didn't know exactly when.
You're talking about this one right
Yep,
here.
for these projects. And that's it. So for 61 Business Park Drive. That was him on the phone when Peter Fogg was here, called him back to let us know that.
Great, okay. Well, let's see, where do we start? The spaghetti dinner was a great success. We raised a little over $2,000.
Excellent.
Thank you all that contributed, all the businesses that contributed to the raffle. There was Greenside Restaurant and BJ's for all of the
Forgot that.
all the cooking of the food, and Jerry Shaley for the place. The Grange, we had a meeting, the executive committee, and had a meeting with the director of Community Action Program on last Tuesday up at the senior center, and we were rudely interrupted by screaming squirrel in the walls. So I called several times to Terminex, and I spoke a couple of times with our contact, but then he had to go away for a couple of days and said that he's put out a service contact and make sure you call this number and they'll tell you when they're coming. And when I did that, somebody very rude come on the phone and said, well, you know, there's got to be accesses for them to get in and so on and so forth. And I said, well, you know what, you've been working on this problem now for about 8 months, and we have a warranty for 2 years that there won't be any in our building, so I suggest that you get somebody up here and escort them out. So
How'd it work out for you?
I wasn't quite as nice, but, so the supervisor got on the phone, and the supervisor told me that there were a lot of holes in the foundation, from what he could understand from the service technician. And I said, you know what, we've done everything possible and every suggestion taken, including cutting down trees, to make that a squirrel-safe environment. So he said, given that we have a contract with you that it warranties that there will be no squirrels living in our senior center, and that we will be able to conduct an hour-long meeting without screaming little babies running around running after their mother, I really have a problem with that. And I'd really like to hear what the other person has to say and not have screaming squirrels running up and down the walls. So,
On the outside of the walls?
inside. This is inside. We're inside. And this happened. So he's sending someone up tomorrow. Meanwhile, Dennis has gone up there to look at the foundation, and he is going to make every effort to fill in wherever he can fill in on the foundation to tighten that up a bit as well. That's going to happen. Dennis also is going to power wash the front of it so that it looks a little bit cleaner for our grand opening. And then the police explorers are going to paint the front porch for us.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's coming together. Kelly from the sign shop is making us a new sign. So we took down the little Tilton Historical Museum sign that's under the porch, and we were kind of hoping to match it for the Tilton Senior Center, but she's actually going to make one over the porch that's very long, and hopefully either Dennis or the fire department can put it up on the building.
Hope it's not on the roof. I'll have to find you a violation.
I'll put it up there. Oh, leave the ladder.
We're mean.
We'll get it up, don't worry about it.
Clemency.
You got something.
It's going to go in the front of the building, above the porch.
Says it meets zoning?
It's less than 10% of the facade.
That's a twofer, isn't it, Tom?
Olin.
It's only going to be about this wide and about this long, so I think that'll be fine.
To get your permit?
I didn't get the permit, actually. I should probably be putting in for a permit.
I think you're covered. Matter of fact, I know you're covered.
Yeah, you covered.
All right, so Jeannie Forrester, that's set. Okay, so May 10th at 1:30 is our opening. Now, I have something about the hawkers and peddlers that I want to bring up. We have the ice cream truck back again.
The neighborhood truck that plays the music and whatever. I love that guy.
I don't, he doesn't come to my place.
Comes to my house, and I like it.
It's a good
At
thing.
my house, he's going so fast, you couldn't get an ice cream if you wanted.
Well, that is, yeah, let's make that guy slow down.
Well, he's a hawker and peddler, by
He needs it,
definition.
I know. Could we send a note to the police department to let them know that they
Yeah.
can't, because they're not listening to what I have to say?
Yeah, if they have no license, they should.
I called them, and they didn't seem too interested, so. They should have a hawkers and peddlers. Okay.
Is this a local person?
I don't think so. At least the one last year it wasn't, I don't think.
I don't believe it's a local person. They didn't have a hawkers and peddlers last year either, and we chased them all over town last year. Is it the same one? It is.
I haven't seen it this year.
So I think we need to put a stop to it until he comes and gets us.
License.
The miser's coming out.
And she gets squirrels and she gets kids.
I'm against that music that they're playing. Do you know, it cranks my dogs up every time they go down the door. No, out here, it goes up and down about 5 times out here.
Really?
If you were to buy an ice cream, you'd leave.
He comes, no, they just stay there.
And you know,
But they
as
shut
soon
the
as I
music
buy an
off
ice
when
cream,
you
there's
buy
going to be a reporter out there taking a picture of me buying an ice cream from somebody that doesn't have a Hawkers and Peddlers.
The evidence.
That's what's going to happen.
That's right.
$50 a month? Yep.
What do you mean, he makes that in one stop?
Well, either that or you come in and site plan.
What do you want me to do with this?
It is if it's parked in the setback.
That's her request.
If it's in the setback, yeah.
I pulled this up from Laconia, which really, we need to add it to ours. I thought it really kind of told
I
me,
think public input was earlier.
hi, we don't do what she wants us to do.
Okay. So Portland, huh, Kevin?
I figure that's far enough. Kind of like Las Vegas. And I don't have to dress.
Oh, what the hell ideal is that?
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah.
Outdoor music.
I didn't see that one.
All right, Sandy, do you have anything? I think we should look into that, but I don't, do you want to say something about that?
Well, I think we should address it. This is a letter from Judy Tilton. She says, I'm writing to ask that the Tilton Board of Selectmen review the town's hawker and peddler's permit. Reading it over, it appears the intent of this permit is for out-of-town vendors doing a specific event. Although I understand the importance of the town knowing where vendors are located, I feel the cost is very high for a long-term local vendor. The state hawkers and peddlers license is $50 per year. The town's is $50 per month, plus the cost of the ID from the police department. Thank you for your consideration, Judy Tilton.
It is kind of hard.
When it was first brought to my attention, I kind of thought, oh, maybe there's a point to be made there. And then I looked at other ordinances for hawkers and peddlers license, and I came across this clause, which says, no person shall vend, hawk, sell, peddle, entertain, parade, perform, solicit, or exhibit for a period longer than 30 continuous days at the same location. Those persons seeking to vend longer than 30 continuous days shall be subject to site plan review as authorized by the town zoning ordinances.
Yeah.
That's why we have a hawkers and peddlers license, because otherwise anyone could come into town and then rather than site plan for a business, they want a hawkers and peddlers license.
Move every 28 days.
Technically, right?
And just move every 28 days.
Or pay the fee, because we don't have this,
Yeah.
we don't have this in our ordinance. They could just keep coming in every month, I suppose. So I don't know how, if everyone wants to just, I thought I'd bring it to your attention if you want to make a decision tonight. If you wanna-
I do
if you
think
wanna
the fee
review
is
it.
excessive.
Yeah, it is.
You know, if you have a particular peddler that is in a permanent space in one spot for even 2 or 3 months, that's $150. And look at what, we also do the same thing for the Christmas
Catherine, can I just make a copy of that?
Christmas tree
Just the letter.
person. It's like 3 months. They do it October, November, December.
You know,
What about the people that sell flowers,
I'm kind of,
right down here?
I could go either way with it. I mean, I understand the reason for having it at $50. It protects those businesses who have gone through the site planning process, who pay taxes, you know. And This is designed for those people who come into town, have no ownership, they pay no taxes.
Right,
They they don't site plan.
right.
They just come in, they get somebody to say, can I set up on your property? And there they are.
Right.
But then the argument would be, well, the property they're setting up on is paying the property taxes.
Right.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Well,
Like
to
I
me,
said, it's-
you know, like once before, we had an issue and a problem with, and it seems like it has resolved itself. When the planning board, you know, appealed to the selectmen, that it has no problem with you giving hawker and peddlers, as long as where they want to set up it is a legal use.
Yes.
Because this was an issue, we had a hawker and peddler set up in an area where what he was doing was not allowed by zoning.
Right.
But he was only a hawker and peddler, so he's sitting there doing his thing. When people come in and say, hey, I wanted a business there doing the same thing and you wouldn't let me. So to me,
I just came
this
from
is,
Augusta, Georgia, who apparently have no hawkers and peddlers license, or it's ridiculously cheap. Because quite frankly, and I was very surprised by this, it seemed like any time there was a vacant lot, a vacant storefront, a vacant anything, there were people selling tie-dye shirts or knockoff handbags or balloons. Every corner, every street had a guy out there working out of the back of his car. It was unsightly and it was unregulated, and it just, I was very surprised. I don't think that I would like to see Tilton turn into that, nor do I think that we're going to anytime soon, but $50 a month kind of makes those guys think twice.
It really doesn't seem feasible to, I think you're limiting people,
what about the
particularly
locals?
people those that live in town.
Right.
We're limiting them because, you know, particularly this person, when you want to set up, and the cost of the head hawkers and peddlers have to be in within the cost of the business, it's not feasible now. It becomes unrealistic. There's no profit in it.
What about when we have the farmer's market and you have all those booths there?
Well,
Are they-
farmer's market is under agricultural, and it's totally different venue, even though Catherine Dawson doesn't believe that it is.
What if I wanted to sell jelly in my front yard? Does
You
that...
can do that, it's agricultural, and you,
And it's my
yes.
house?
It's on
As
your
long as you-
property.
Or
as long
eggs,
as you made it.
right? That
Isn't,
would-
yeah, as I
How
say,
did
fruit
we
to your
treat
labor.
the operation up here at Alser's place, the Aglet building? Did they get hawker and peddlers for that?
No, they came in and site planned.
Yeah.
No, they didn't come in. So
That woman did come in.
came in to ask if they
Oh,
could
she
do
did a
it.
conceptual, right?
Yeah,
Because it's a
that-
retail, it's
that
already
was
been
all.
retail.
And we gave her things that
Right,
she
but
had to do.
that's not, that's, she had permission,
No different.
it's different, it's not traveling.
Well, it wouldn't be different, because you folks gave her things to do to change for parking and so on and so forth, so
So was it an update?
They did that.
Updated site plan?
No, it was just the fact that she was there on a temporary basis. It had been a retail outlet before. They were selling to the public. And the owner of the property was there saying that it was going to be limited, and he was going to, you know, they would do what they had to do as far as the parking became an issue.
Okay, so
Which
that
they
wasn't a hawkers and peddlers, then that was just the same use of the same
Well, I
property?
mean, I kind of thought about it, just like the farmer's market sets up at Tanger Outlet every year.
but technically, she could come in
Right.
to farmer's market
Right,
Yep.
and not pay that fee,
right.
technically.
So the other thing to think about is adding to the ordinance that would allow and I don't know how to word it, a resident, a taxpayer,
Oh, I would say a
registered voter of the
resident of
town
the-
of Tilton.
A resident of the town of Tilton.
I think I'd want them to be a taxpayer, because that's why you have a hawkers and peddlers license, to protect
So
those
if you rent an
businesses,
apartment, you can't do anything.
those businesses who pay taxes. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
Have somebody that's lived in this town for 30 years and they don't own their property. They've been a renter all these years.
I don't know, I
I'm
think
just throwing it
that's-
out
Any
there.
less of an,
Throwing
what they
garbage.
pay in rent is covering the taxes
You don't
on the
want to get
property.
too far away from the hawkers and peddlers definition
Right.
of what a hawkers and peddlers
I
is
say
if you're
just
going
leave
to
it
make
like
an
it is
exception.
and be good with it.
I'd kind of like, let's leave it alone for now.
Well, I'm just thinking, you know, if you
Let's get the
have
ice
an
cream
ice
truck
cream
guy
truck,
and-
how many ice cream cones does he have to sell just to pay for his hawker's
Let me
license?
tell you something,
Well, and
at
they'll know
$4.50 on ice
now.
cream, not too many.
10, 12?
$4.50 for an ice cream?
Yeah, it's like,
Not too
you'd have
many.
to sell a dozen a week
I'll go
to,
get my own
to
ice
meet
cream.
the, meet the, wow, you know.
You don't have to sell too many, I can tell you that.
What's that to cover his fuel costs?
Yeah, right.
I remember when they were, I'm not going to say,
Yeah.
that's going to be dating myself.
I think that there should be something in there that's going to allow the long-term resident that's
Right.
going to do the hawkers and peddlers. I think that there should be, not an exception, but a line for anything over,
So have a 6-month,
right,
say have a 6-month
a
price.
6-month one at a certain price. So that it would be cheaper to buy the 6-month one than it would be for the,
Yeah.
someone to do 4 months at $200 or something.
This licensing application is not the current one. Website. Our photo IDs do not cost $5.
Someone has to give it to Tim in order to put it on the website.
What do they cost?
Fun, isn't it?
I don't know, it's at cost. They pay whatever it costs us. But this is not our license. This is very ancient. So could you, Joyce, make sure that Tim has the correct one?
It gets updated.
Yeah, I think that one, though, is part of the original ordinance, but we have the new application form.
Well,
Well, it's confusing to people on the website.
Yeah, this shouldn't be on the website because the selectmen changed the form. Therefore, it should not be part of this ordinance.
Okay, you're saying that within the ordinance is the old application?
When you pull up
Okay, yeah, then-
our hawkers and peddlers ordinance, this comes with it.
Yeah, okay, then that needs to be taken up as correct.
Somebody would have a really good argument.
So it's $50 a month.
So I would suggest that everybody give it a thought. We re-look at it next week. Do you want to add a line that is, I don't know, a seasonal,
Or lines.
however you
do.
want to word it?
Long, yeah.
Seasonal, I wouldn't give them more than 6 months. I wouldn't give them.
No, because, you know, if they're going to, especially if they're setting up at their own property, if it's something that they want to do on a full-time basis, we already
They
have in
need
our
a site
zoning.
plan.
Have them do a site plan for a home business.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So that's what we have to be careful of.
So you don't want to get it too long, because then they're going to be there almost year-round, and
Exactly.
All right, let's get determination next week. Everybody think
Yeah.
about it.
Do you have something for us?
oh, I just going to say, I don't know how much I want to say on TV, but, because I think right now it's a non-public item, but there is a purchase that our Conservation Commission is looking at doing, and I've been doing some research to try and help them out. I did find a plan of the particular property, and it does answer some questions, and when the meeting is over and I go home, I will be sending Chuck an email with all the information that I found out, which hopefully will help them resolve the issues that have come up for them.
Without a survey,
They're going to have it surveyed.
you're going to have it surveyed anyway?
But I did find out some information, like who
already
the
signed?
attorney is and stuff like that,
You want to
so
swear 'em in tonight?
this would give them someone to call to get some answers to some of their
Sign it, and we'll
questions.
just give it to Cindy to fill out the rest of it.
All right, do you have anything else, anybody else have any more? All right. No? You don't? Okay. make a motion to enter into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, consideration and negotiation of pending claims or litigation.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
You see that?
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to legal issues till the matters are resolved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Don't we, prior to that, if I might interject, don't we have to approve the sealant on 61 Business Park Drive, or do we need a motion for that?
No.
We,
We didn't make a motion.
do we need to, is my question.
I think we took a consensus that it would be fine.
Works for me. Second to Al's motion.
As long as it's in the minutes that the consensus is that we will go with the recommendation of Mr. Hickey. Okay.
I'd like to second Mr. LaPlante's.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Just a question.
Really great, would you bet?
Do you want a one-year term or a